Welcome back to Is It Still Good, the channel where we take a look at older films and let you know if they still hold up. Today, we're going to take a look at a horror thriller from 2007, Stephen King's The Mist. But first, let's sell a book. We're back! Okay, hopefully we sold some books. Today we're going to talk about The Mist. Lily and I just watched it the other night. It was good. I'll tell you that right now. It was a good film. Rated R. 2007 horror thriller. Like I said, runs 2 hours, 6 minutes. And we're going to get into it. Specs on this son of a gun. 7.1 on IMDb. 84% of Google likes this film. Stars Thomas Jane. Directed by Frank Darabont, that also did Stephen King's adaptations for Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. There was a couple of actors I recognized in this from The Shawshank Redemption that were both very good. This was originally written by Stephen King, and the screenplay was written by Stephen King and Frank Darabont. This is a film that Frank Darabont was very passionate about. He had wanted to direct this film for many, many years. He put a lot of work into the screenplay. I guess there was some sort of dispute about the ending. Darabont wanted to keep the ending so badly that he ended up taking a $15 million pay cut or whatever. They offered him $30 to do it. After renegotiating, he was allowed to shoot the ending he wanted, but only made about 15, something like that. Look it up yourself. But if that's true, he was very passionate about the ending, which does put a new spin on it for me. Stephen King was genuinely frightened of this adaptation of his work, and Frank Darabont had said that that was one of the happiest moments of his career. So Lily and I just decided to watch this randomly. For October, I'm trying to get a bunch of these reviews up, trying to keep them all in the horror genre, so you guys kind of have a rough idea of what to watch out there. The Mist is a good movie. A lot of people like it. I figure, why not? I couldn't really remember it that much. So I watched it again, and here's what I found out. In the beginning, there's good acting in it, and Darabont gets some great performances out of people. He really does. There's some really nice humanity in this film that's captured. But that being said, Thomas Jane as the leading man, in the beginning, I couldn't tell if he was like messing around or not. Like, there were some scenes where he was just acting like a goofball and making weird faces and over-exaggerating, and I don't know, he just seemed off. And then by the end of the film, he does seem to pull it together and turns in a really decent performance. So I can't tell if Thomas Jane acted well or poorly in this, or a combination of both. But I do like him, and he did win me over by the end. So you guys obviously know that there's spoilers in this. The CGI of like the mist creatures was very dated, of course, and a little rough. That being said, if you can suspend disbelief long enough to just kind of go with it, it's used sparingly. It's not used, to an effect that would like really annoy you that badly. The acting in this, like I said, is good. The true horror of The Mist for me is like how fast people can turn on each other, in that like the hyper-religious crazy woman in the beginning just starts spouting off all this crap as soon as they get trapped in the grocery store, and everybody pretty much ignores her. By the end of the ordeal, she has converted about half or more of the patrons of the grocery store into committing violent acts for her. Like, that to me is like, that's the scary part, right? As far as like the giant bugs and the things picking people up and all this stuff, okay, cool. I spoke to a friend about this film, and I was all set to give it a 7.5 out of 10. He really likes this film. He probably would give it an 8.5, somewhere in there. There were a couple aspects of this movie I didn't really like that much, that he liked a lot, actually. So it did make me think about things differently. Like that giant thing that when they finally get out of the grocery store and this like massive thing, like the size of a city, is passing by, I sort of thought that that was like overkill. That's like one of his favorite parts of the film. So I guess that's subjective right there, But for me, I would have been cool with like, like those bad gargoyle things from like Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? Like something like that would be horrifying. I don't think you need to get city-sized, but it was cool, don't get me wrong. And then like ultimately tragic as we get to the ending. This ending's crazy. I don't know. It just seems not forced. It does seem out of the blue a bit because it's a longer film. It does move along. I did get kind of like, meh. It's got a kid in it. I generally don't like movies with kids in them. And like most kids in most films, this kid sucks, you know. But it's okay. You know, like he's not in it too much for me. But I don't know. Thomas Jane's like crisis girlfriend, whoever you want to call her, like the chick that he kind of pairs up with in the grocery store that starts to like look after his kid and stuff. Something about her grates on me a little bit in this film. Thomas Jane too, the kid a little bit too, but it's okay, it's fine. Like in this film, in most horror films, in most horror stories, the characters do something that they commit some sin where they are punished in the way that we see in the film. In this movie, I can't really tell what anybody has done, you know, other than like the obvious examples, but like there's like this like little clerk dude who ends up like being like the sharpshooter. He gets like the revolver and he becomes like a key person in the film. He's like heroic and does what he needs to do and is like decisive and shows leadership qualities and thinks for the best interest of the group. And he's taken out horribly, right? And then just look what happens with like Thomas Jane, right? Well, like what did he do wrong? So I guess if you really want to analyze the film, go back through. I did not, but let me know what you think these characters did, what their sin was to sort of make the horror in this work. And if it doesn't work, maybe that's why not, for me anyway. Like, I like this movie. I think it's good. It's a good movie. You know what I mean? I'm struggling to find the words here because I don't have a lot of bad to say about The Mist, 2007's The Mist. But I don't know. There was something about it that just kept it from being like a home run for me. I would call it like maybe like a triple, right? So he had me on the fence with an 8, but now that I've had time to think about it, my notes are sparse on this one. Guys, I'm going to go with a 7.5 out of 10. Is The Mist worth a watch? Absolutely. It's very good. There's some really good acting in it. There's some good human moments in it. It's okay. You know, I liked it. Lily liked it. We were fine. There were parts that we weren't as enthralled as we would have been. It wasn't like, you know, Evil Dead 2 or something. Like, people aren't going to get in arguments over The Mist. You know, it's fine. And there are like talking points that you can take away from it where you could watch this with someone and discuss it a little bit. It definitely has some things to bring up. That being said, for me, it's just something I kind of watched. It was over. I'm okay with it. I like it. I like The Mist. So that's what I'm sticking with, 7.5 out of 10. What did you think of 2007's Frank Darabont's The Mist? Like, what's your take on it? What do you think of the ending in particular? That's key. And other than that, what else do you recommend? I mean, it's Halloween times. I think I'm going to review Poltergeist coming up next or soon. I know we're supposed to watch that, so look for that one. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. I do appreciate you. Buy a book, watch a film, and we'll see you next time on Is It Still Good?